Welcome to the Divine Timing Code. Whether you're live with me on Zoom or you're catching the replay or you're listening on my podcast, the Mental Health and Manifesting Podcast, a big sparkly welcome and hug. I'm so excited to share this code with you. And why I call it a code is it's really cracking the code of the divine human experience. And there's so much juice and beauty and gorgeousness of this divine human experience. And when we just operate through life as our human and not our divine human, the two together, it can really wreak a lot of havoc on our internal world, in our mind, in our body. And this divine timing is part of the divine human experience. So if you're watching on video, you'll see I have written divine human experience on my board I'm showing. If you're listening on the podcast, you'll just have to imagine this. So you can just have a human experience, or you can have the divine human experience. And this really encompasses, there's two parts of us. You probably noticed this in your life. You have two voices always speaking to you or saying, yes, go for it. You can. You have what you want, what you desire. And then a voice that says, no, you can't. That's not available to you. The fears, the worries, the doubts. The two together create a beautiful divine human experience. So I really want to unlock, activate, support you in a deep remembrance, a deep reconnection, reintegration of your divinity. And when we can connect to the code of divine timing, that just is part of the divine unlocking within you. So divine timing really is at the crux of manifesting. And this isn't something understood by the human mind, because the human mind, it is really been programmed and conditioned under the constructs of time, right? Just think of societal timelines. If you haven't been married by this time, if you haven't gotten out of school or done this, got a house, this timeline in your life. And that's at a macro level, but even at a micro level in your day of time to when to wake up and time like with our schedule. And it's so much based on time. And what I love is where there's cultures in the world where there's no construct of time. It's just the now. There's no past, there's no words for future. It's the now. So even at that scale, we can get stuck in time. We can get stuck in the past and we can get stuck in the future. And when we're not living in this now, what does that create? Rumination in the past, always going over what didn't happen, what didn't work out, placing evidence that your past, because you didn't get what you wanted in your past, or because you didn't have the love, the success, the money in your past, that is now you're using that as evidence. Well, that's why I can't have it in my now. Versus if you're living in your now, your life can change at a moment. Your life can change in an instant. And this has happened to me time and time and time and time again, using time in a more powerful way here. And if it's just always in the future, you're always living in the future, whether it be you're worried about the future, you're projecting onto the future, worst case scenarios in the future, we're really losing the potency and depth of the divine human experience, which is meant to be living in this now. So as you are listening to this, as you are being a part of this code, really starting to allow yourself to drop into this now, drop down from your mind and into chin down. When we just live chin up in our mind, we can't connect to the deeper essence and layers within ourselves, our divinity. So I want you to start to drop chin down, maybe bring your hands on your heart, feel your heart, connect to your heart's wisdom, truth, desires. Your desires that are from your heart, that live in your heart, are meant for you. There's so many gifts of your desires. your desires are divine. So starting to really connect, remember, reintegrate this divine connection of your desires, of your heart, feeling this, tapping into this right here, right now. Understanding the depths and gifts of divine timing is so supportive to clearing the time frames that hinder one's mental health and helps unlock manifesting your desires. So when we have time frames, either it was what our parents said, what society has said, or what our mind just thinks, if it's like, I have this desire, this financial goal, or this desire for love, and it has to happen at this time, by this age, by, if it's a financial goal, by this month, and then it doesn't happen. Okay, well, now there's hopelessness. Now there's despair. Now there's sadness. Now there's stories in your mind. What's wrong with me? Look, everyone else has it. Something must be wrong with me. And now your mind is really construed with, it can't happen. It's not available to me, because you unknowingly, unintentionally placed time frames, timelines on your heart's desires. So today, making that commitment and that devotion that your desires get to unfold, manifest, come into fruition in divine timing. Because the gift of divine timing is allowing for your human to grow, to expand, to heal, to process, to move through resistance. If what you desired just came in this now, and your human doesn't have the bandwidth and the capacity to hold the love, to be that other half, that energetic match to the love, and then it's just going to end, why would we want to rush the timing when our human has healing from past relationships to move through, has limiting beliefs around self-love, has energetic resistance that things are too good to be, if things are too good to be true, it can't be true. So then you're going to block the good things from coming into your life. So when there's a space, a lag time, a void space of, I desire this and I'm here, the gap of that is the beauty, the gifts of divine timing that you can feel into and tune into, and you will receive answers. And if we really cut off this connection to our divinity, our higher self, higher levels, whatever you may believe in, whether that's God, life, universe, I use those words interchangeably. And when you reestablish that connection, even just asking, I always say, I'm ready and willing to do and be my part when I'm focusing on a desire. So when I state that, I declare that, doing and being are two very different vibrations. Doing is the human doing, and being is the divinity. So sometimes my work is to lean back and just be in trust and worthiness and surrender. That's being. And sometimes it's doing. So for example, I desire to impact and reach many souls with my words, my energy, my channeling, with things like putting this on the divine timing code for unlocking and activation for you to experience a divine human experience. And my doing part is putting it out there, being visible. And then my being part is trusting in the timeless creations, trusting in who is meant to hear this. My energy will draw them in and pull them in. If I just overdid it and was like pressure and force, like, this is human now. I'm not trusting in the divine timing, the divine order, the divine blueprint, the divine plan, and my human's overdoing it. Okay, so now there's burnout, now there's stress, now there's me creating these stories like, I needed this amount and that amount of people at this time and it didn't happen. I'm a failure, give up, quit. Like, the human takes over. So tapping into your divinity and what your being part is as well. So those are just some examples. And when you lean into it, there may be resistance of the doing. And I have so much resistance of being visible, believe it or not, because I am quite active, I would say, online and social media. For some reason, this level of self I've hit into is I'm experiencing a lot of fear around being visible. But my desire, my heart's desire, is impact and connection to people and souls. But the resistance is the fear of being seen. So the gift here of why I don't have a massive soul scriber community yet is because I can't even hold yet the fear that I'm moving through. So if that was just given to me, it would all crash and burn. So I'm trusting in this time that I'm moving through resistance. So just start to tune into your desires, your heart's desires. So this is not about fully manifesting this code. I don't have time to go into like the depths of manifesting, but when you connect to your desires, your heart's desires, just being really clear, the difference is not ego desire. It's not from the mind. It's not a desire of, well, I want this because then I'll feel loved, I'll look cool. That's very from the mind and the ego, and no judgment, no shame. I was there too, but live chin down. Again, connect to your heart, and your heart will tell you the desires. And it might be similar to what the mind was, but then you'll just have to like clean up any ickiness around it, any ickiness around those desires. That the ick is I want it to feel good enough to get the approval and acceptance of people and friends and family. That is not clean, clear, and a pure heart's desire. Okay. When we really lean back into divine timing, you like just even feel that like sense of relief of like surrendering to divine timing. It's an allowing energy and vibration and frequency, and it allows your human to grow through the gift of the heart's desire, to clear, to process, to address, to move into. And your heart's desires are meant to move you, lead you, and guide you. So if you have a heart's desire for health, wealth, success, prosperity, adventure, I'm using more broader terms. Yours might be more specific. And again, there's no like right or wrong way to do this. We can fine tune things, but we can't get into that today. Totally okay. They're meant to move you. But if you don't honor and trust in divine timing, if your desire is for love, and it's been, so for example, for me, 7 years since I went to one of my first spiritual healers, and she said, have you written your list of the type of relationship and person you desire and the qualities and how you want to feel and da 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 da? And I was like, no, I wrote that 7 years ago. And I see my friends getting married and having kids. And I could, with my human mind, say, I'm behind. It's not going to happen for me. Look, everyone else is getting married. And it's just starting to come into fruition now. And I can see through the last 7 years, the human I grew, the healing I had to heal and process. Every piece of inner work and clearing I did has led me to the person I am today, who is the energetic match, the match to the person I've desired and wrote down 7 years ago. So your desire, remember this, your desire wants you. What you desire desires you. So there's an other half to your desire. And that other half, you get to align to it. So if it's a certain level of success, money, whatever it may be, love, you get to align your human to that divine desire. And that's the lag time, the time from where you are now and your desire coming to fruition, manifesting. All right. So I just have some notes here because when I was feeling into this, It was all coming through to me. I was like, this is so good. I can't miss any of these incredible points. So this code of the divine human experience, the full title of the divine timing code was the Unrealistic Universe. And I spelt unrealistic and universe with a capital U and N, because this vision really came to me when I was tapping into the unrealistic universe. If you get rid of the U and N, you're left with realistic. And then there's no universe word without the U and the N. So divine timing is not on a realistic timeline, time frame, energy, frequency. Realistic is just human. There's no divinity in unrealistic universe. When we accept that manifesting is actually beyond mind, which is unrealistic, unfathomable, you're tapping into the magic, the divinity, the connection of the universe. And again, if you don't like that word, use a different word, but it just really works for my analogy and the vision I was gifted. So I'm going with that and accepting, anchoring in, excited about my unrealistic desires. And to the point where when I tapped into what my heart's desires were, because for so long of my life, I was told what to do, when to do it, what you're going to do, where you're going, right? There was nothing divine, very timed out for me. And when I started doing the healing work and the self-inner work, connecting to my heart's desires, they're big. The love I desire is big. It's like a power couple relationship. It's big. The success, the impact is reaching and impacting. What came to me is 1 to hundreds of thousands of souls a day. Like that's big. And like even to claim this and say this is like, oh, but I anchor in to claim my desires and my worth is big, putting it out. And when I connect to financial goal, it's like just ease, financial freedom and success in an easeful, fun, relaxed, healthy, positive manner for the highest and greatest good of all. Those are pure heart's desires. And they're like really big. So at one point, because they feel so unrealistic, I asked the universe, show me a sign if these manifestations are meant to come true. And you can do this too. And I asked for a sign and I was very specific. I said, show me a rainbow. And I set that 2 years ago. It was either end of January, beginning of February 2021. And I have seen a rainbow, an iteration of a rainbow. Someone says something about a rainbow. I look at the map and I'm going to Rainbow Avenue. I go to a park and it says Rainbow Park. I had a server and I asked her name and she said it was Rainbow. Like there's rainbows everywhere in my life. And it is incredible. Every single day. This morning, I went out to ground, saw a rainbow on my patio. When I was coming up, it's just like a reflection of one. I'm tapping in to the universe. And it's beautiful to get that divine confirmation. So you can ask for divine intervention, divine connection, divine guidance, divine support for your desires and see what comes through. I wanted to share this story with you about when I was younger, I would play the game The Sims. And I'm not sure if anyone knows that game, where you would build houses. And I loved building the houses for my little sim to live in. But if you remember, you're only given a small amount of money at the beginning. So you can't actually really build a cool house with the cool accents and wallpaper and rugs and furniture. It's very limited. And then one day I was at school and I was telling someone I was playing this game and they're like, oh, I have a code for you for the game. Water break 1 sec. Reminder, take some water. And the code was for unlimited money in the game. I put the keys You got to like hit 8 of them at once and then just hit enter, and then your bank account just filled up, filled up, filled up. That code made this Sims game so fun. I could build any type of house I wanted, and I didn't always purchase the most expensive thing. I actually bought the things that I liked based on desire. So this really has come back to me, this vision, when I have connected to the divine human experience. That game was programmed for the code. This universe is programmed with codes, and the divine timing is a code for your manifestations, for this unrealistic universe connection. Divine timing is one of those codes. And I just thought that was a beautiful parallel, and to highlight it visually in a great metaphor and analogy. That's really how I'm gifted visions, is very much in metaphors that are symbolic. So I really like that. So because we're moving through with this unrealistic universe and connecting to the divine timing code, what comes with that is unrealistic beliefs, right? A lot of us, or not, I shouldn't blanket that, but for those who don't tap into manifestation in the unrealistic universe, they say, be real, like be realistic. And that's not on the vibe. That's not on the frequency of the unrealistic universe where all your desires are. So unrealistic beliefs to anchor in, and sitting with yourself and really contemplating, these are my desires. What would I have to believe, anchor in, fully trust for these to come true, to manifest, to come into fruition, to happen? So I'm going to give you one powerful one right now that is very unlocking and activating for almost any desire, actually all of them. I am worthy of my desires unconditionally. I really want you to let that sink in. I'm going to say it again, and maybe close your eyes and just put your hands to your heart and let my words, the energy, the frequency, the vibration penetrate your being, your conscious, your subconscious, your cells, everything. I am worthy of my desires unconditionally. I want you to say it even. I am worthy of my desires unconditionally. I'm worthy because I am. I'm worthy because I have the divinity within me. I am worthy because the divine lives within me. I am worthy because I am worthy to receive, because it just is. There's no story. There's no, I deserve it because I did X, X, and X. That's so much doing. Worthiness and deserving are on two different timelines and frequencies. And if that's not really landing for you, I highly, highly recommend the masterpiece program I put on of worthiness, of self-worth. So you can actually remember, reintegrate, reestablish your innate essence of worthiness. You were born worthy and nothing has changed. And when you connect to your innate essence of worthiness, your human can lean back. Your human can do less. In a world where it's pushed for do more, overgive, hustle, burnout, here's your badge of honor, the paradigms are shifting. That is such an old masculine way to operate. And we're moving out of that. And you get to start to move more into the beingness and being in worthiness. And I have received so much, not from doing. I've received just for being me. Magic manifestations coming through because I did the work of reintegrating, reestablishing, reclaiming my worthiness. And so I don't have to do like I was told I had to do, overdo it, overgive, overwork, hustle, hustle, hustle to receive. Worthiness, receiving for being. Born worthy, nothing has changed. And if a lot of resistance is coming up when you're listening to this, you're like, great, yeah, that'd be cool. Like, would love that. There's resistance here. There's some inner work to address. And I mean, I absolutely love inner work. I love connecting to parts of me that the world chipped away at and to reintegrate and turn back on. So I put on a beautiful masterpiece of a program of worthiness, and it was called Self-Worth. It's available now, and it's really coming back to your essence of worthiness, reestablishing this connection so that you're not attached to time, of overdoing it, of I did X, so I should have X. I did da 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 da, so I should have my desire. Now you don't. Oh, okay, well, here's despair, here's helplessness, here's hopelessness, here's sadness, here's stress, which wreaks havoc on your human, on your heart, on your nervous system, on your body, on your mental health. So when we have an anchor in worthiness, that's like, of course, in divine timing, I receive my desires unconditionally. So many people have placed conditions on their desires. When I look this way, when I do this, when I have this certain level, then I get to have desire. No, wrong. I mean, that is a way, but that's just a human way. That's not a divine human way. So if that resonates with you whatsoever at all, definitely check out Maeganaleece.com. It's part of a mental health and manifesting series, and this program is a month long. It takes you through removing, releasing, and attaching from conditions you've placed on your desires, and what is really, again, wreaking havoc in your mental health and your nervous system, your body. And it takes you through a rapid transformational therapy and clinical hypnotherapy session to go back to the root of where your worthiness was told, no, you're wrong, you can't have this, like, what's wrong with you, it's not available to you, like very, very deep subconscious and energetic work. So definitely check that out if just what I'm saying isn't fully integrating and landing. And that's okay, because where your human is, your bandwidth and capacity, if you have a lot of resistance, if this is really deep rooted, sometimes just the words aren't going to be powerful enough to fully integrate and embody, but you know it. And knowing, knowledge, and integration, embodiment, two very, very different things. Knowledge is just very mind, integration, embodiment, like you're moving through life worthy. How you walk, how you talk is from worthiness. What you desire is, I'm worthy of it. So there's no fears, worries, doubts, despair, hopelessness of what you desire manifesting, coming to fruition. I shouldn't say fear, actually. There will be fear with desires, because that is a gift, again, of the desire to move through, to lean into. It helps your human grow. I face fear every single day. And one time I thought it was just going to go away. No, if you want to keep hitting up on different layers and levels of yourself, different gifts of manifestations that are on different layers and levels of yourself, there's going to be new levels and layers of fear to work through. But it doesn't come with the helplessness, the despair, the intense worry. It's just like, oh, I am afraid to be visible and claim my desires, and people judge me. That's the fear. And my human gets to move through it. Okay, so that is an unrealistic belief. I am worthy of my desires unconditionally. And living in joyous expectancy of the best is another beautiful divine timing code, because you're moving through life in joyous expectancy of the best. And that, the word joy and expectancy, it's just like conviction and certainty. And there's no time frame of it. There's no timeline. It's I'm living in joyous expectancy of the best. And that's a really, really powerful one to also anchor in. Joyous expectancy, it's open, it's an allowing energy. There's no worry infused in it, and it's for the best and the highest outcomes. So when I first heard someone say, I'm an unrealistic goal achiever, I want you to feel what is happening in your body when I say that, or anything that I say. And when it like buzzes, or you get goosebumps, or it resonates truth within you, or activates, unlocks something within you, make note of that. And this, like, ding, I could just feel it in my body when I heard I'm an unrealistic goal achiever. I was like, I'm anchoring that in, I'm taking that on, I'm calibrating to that, I accept that as my truth. And that really has just, it makes it fun. Like, this just gets to be fun at this point. I'm an unrealistic goal achiever. And it again comes with the unrealistic universe really beautifully, that code. So unconditional worthiness, it really is the antidote to perfectionism, because you're worthy regardless if you make a mistake, regardless if you fall down, regardless if there was a failure, regardless if it worked the first time or didn't. And it really is the antidote to time attachment, because you're worthy unconditionally. You can make that mistake, you can fall down, you can forgive yourself, and in divine timing, it's going to come to fruition after all the gifts of the desire. Because the gift of the desire, your manifestation, your goal, your dream, your outcome, your results, is not just the gift. It's in the divine timing that the gifts come through for you. So if we're not living in joyous expectancy of the best and worthiness throughout that time, you're missing so much of the beauty of the gifts from that actual desire that is moving you, leading you, guiding you, and to be trusted and surrendered to. Not only do we have unrealistic beliefs to go with this, but we have unrealistic way to live life. Living in trust of yourself, of your heart's desires, of in something higher, whether it be your higher self, God, life, universe, in divine guidance, surrendering to divine timing. Most people do not live in trust. Most people live in control, which is the opposite of trust. So when we live in control, it's just the human. It is not the divine human. Add trust, now we're having the divine human experience. And again, if this is just a word and it's like, oh, that would be great, we can go deeper here. When we don't trust and we're in control and our human is controlling every little aspect, every little part, divine timing will work in your favor and delay and create more lag time for what you desire to come through, because your lesson, your soul's lesson, growth, your human growth, is to relinquish control and to lean back and be more in the beingness of the human experience and be in the present, surrender and trust in the now, to the lessons, to the gifts, to the wisdoms, the expansion of your human. Being in the now, trusting, that is massive. That is huge. That changes the trajectory of your human, of your mental health, of your nervous system. Think of what trust invokes, the surrender, what that invokes. And the image that was gifted to me was of a mom holding a baby. The baby, the child, the toddler surrenders into her arms. And the surrender, it's not a let go. So I was really feeling into the difference between letting go and surrender. And we hear this a lot in the manifesting community, like, just let go of your desires. And it's like, well, where do they go? They just float away. Like, I don't resonate with that. I don't connect to it. It's you surrender to your desire. You surrender to the divine timing. You surrender and you're held. And that mother to me symbolized the universe, God, life, your higher self holding you. Like, you can surrender. You're safe to surrender into the time that is happening, that your human is going through, the gifts, the healing, the processing of your human. I just really liked that analogy. I was like, oh, that feels so much better than like letting go. It's like, where am I going? I'm like floating in space. That's scary. I don't want to do that. I want to surrender into the unrealistic universe. And that's trust. trusting in divine timing, trusting in divine lessons, wisdoms, experiences, challenges for my human to raise my bandwidth, my capacity, my system to hold the desire that I'm actually desiring and asking for. When you try to override with your human, pressure, force, override your unique energy flow, it again affects your human system, your heart, your physical body, your mind, your mental health. And when we just operate from our human for most of our life with control, with time frames, attached to time, trust has to be remembered, reestablished, reconnected, and reintegrated. Because if not, it's like this lingering state of fear and worry and despair. And that is not a divine human experience. Of course, we're going to feel some of those emotions, but living in those emotions, no. No, we do not need to. So I just want to quickly share some divine timing stories that encompass the gifts, the lessons, the expansion, the growth of my human as to like why there was meant to be that divine time. Water break once again. Okay. So some have happened, some haven't happened yet. But again, I just so trust in them and trust in divine timing that the trust is so deep that it's like it has happened, or I know it's happening because that's how much I trust. So I have this desire ever since I was a little kid to be on a certain television show, interestingly enough. And you have to apply to it every year, and it's only on once a year, and you have to apply to it every year. And I have applied, I think either for 4 or 5 years, and I keep getting closer and closer through the interview process to making it on the show. Like thousands and thousands of people apply for it every year. So for me to even be picked at the beginning is like, whoa, yes, let's go. And then like the next rounds of interview. I live in joyous expectancy of the best. My desire, I am worthy of it. I trust and believe, and like to be on a TV show is pretty unrealistic. But again, I believe in the unrealistic universe and that I'm connected to it. I'm an unrealistic goal achiever, right? So all of these beliefs and these anchorings in, I support me through the process. And I can look back every year that I didn't make it. And when I watch the show, I'm like, oh yeah, I would have not done well on that season. Oh yeah, I wouldn't have made it to the end. Like not only do I want to make it on, I want to win it. I want to go to the end. And if I get on it and I get off the first week, that would be even more harming and sad and terrible for my human than if I got on and made it farther in the season. And I can look back and see how I had to grow with my emotional intelligence, how I had to grow with like human connection and interaction, growing with like releasing judgment of people. On a TV show in front of way more people, you're going to be judged, whether you like it or not. People are processing you based on their own past, their own conditions, their own trauma, their own triggers, and it can be projected. And I used to have a really hard time with that when I was going viral on TikTok, and some people will be like, and I'm like, oh my God, what? You think what? And until I could grow from that, again, this would harm my human. So in divine timing, I've grown, I've expanded, I've healed parts within me, processed parts that would not have done well if I would have been on that show. So I've been trusting in divine timing. And this is another little thing about desires I'm quickly going to say is you may have a very specific desire, but tap into the energy of the desire. Because, for example, for me, for this specific show, the energy of the desire is to fulfill like a childhood dream and be in the fun experience, a light in the limelight. I am not attached that it has to be that. The energy of the desire, I trust in. So I allow it to unfold the way it's going to unfold. My human leans back and I lean in and trust into the surrender and energy of the desire. So if you have a very specific one and you're like, it hasn't happened or now it's not going to happen, what was the energy of it? Was it love? Was it adventure? What was it? And trust in the energy of the desire and allow it to manifest and come into fruition in divine timing the way it's meant to. You just give up on it. If you just write it off, you've created so much resistance for that to flow into your life from the universe in the form of opportunities. Some things are stepping stones, so it's doing your part and taking that action. That is something to reflect on if you've done that to any desires in the past, of just like wrote it off because after one time it didn't happen and it didn't work. So I already shared about like the power couple relationship. This has been 7 years in the making, and yeah, just what my human has grown through to be the match of the power couple relationship I desire it's been fun, it's been enjoyable, it's been beautiful. And it doesn't mean there hasn't been relationships in between then, but like the one I've been really connected to, yeah, that's fun. A desire for community and friendships in the new place that I moved to about 3 years ago. This one took, in divine timing, about 1.5 years. And that's the longest it's ever taken me to feel established into a community and make deep connections and friendships. I've moved many places since I was 17, I think like 6 places, 6 different cities, made many great friendships right away. And for some reason, moving on the West Coast here, it took so much longer. And in divine timing, what I grew in that 1.5 years, the gift of the desire was really releasing my worth attached to friends. And this was like a very teenager wound where I felt loved, seen, good enough if I had a lot of friends. And I didn't realize I had that in me until I didn't have friends. And it was like all these things were coming up to clear, to address, so that I didn't carry that with me anymore. Again, this was the gift of the desire, was to heal and to process worthiness attached to friends, to having a lot of friends. And also a gift in that time, that divine timing, was I had to let go of a toxic friendship. So that was the resistance from the flow of the friends I was desiring, was this one relationship. And I knew it, but my human didn't want to let go of it because then you're alone. And then what does that mean about you, right? All these stories your mind creates. When I let go of that friendship, it was about 2 months after that the most beautiful community and friendship group that I have now came flooding in, like all at once. So this is another power thing to look at in regards to your desire. What are you resisting? What's your human resisting to do or be? That is one. Oh, this one's really fun. So in 2019, when this was like the lowest financial area of my life I was in, I set a huge financial goal. And just keyword financial, not income, financial. So if you haven't done the Unexpected Money program yet, that is a very, very fun program to do. That one's actually free. It's part of the Mental Health and Manifesting series. It's the first one. I did it free so you could immerse before you invest. So if you want to move forward with the self-worth and the worthiness, you know how the structure is. You're more attuned and aligned to my energy, and then you can invest in the rest or whatnot. But in the Unexpected Money program, if money is a block, a desire, there's resistance, highly recommend taking that. It was so much fun doing that program. And I set a huge financial goal 2019, and I set it for 2020. I was like, 1 year, we're gonna have this. It didn't happen, but it did 2 years later. So in divine timing, 2 years later, it came to fruition. And that time, my human in regards to gratitude around money and like really, really claiming and owning and aligning to money not attached in the over giving, the hustle, the overworking. Like that was what was needed in that time for my human, for the divine human experience. So I can so see why 2 years versus in my timeline, I was like, next year, let's go. I would have missed the growth, the lessons, the wisdoms about money and the energy of money and all of that if I just would have got it right then and there. So that was a beautiful divine timing story I wanted to share with you. And also we kind of touched on this for like my vocation and my life. I really desire location freedom, time freedom, and impact, and all of the beautiful together. I don't want it separate. I love my life and my life's work being part of my life. So that desire comes with healing old programming of work. And I come from a generation of farmers. It's worked as even before the sun's up and when the sun's down. Like it was really, really hard on my body and my human and my system and my mind programming to shift working that way. But I would show up exhausted, not able to connect and channel for these types of codes for clients, for anything that I put out there, if I'm exhausted and burnt out. And you can feel energy and you can feel frequency, and that was not that way to work aligned with my energy and frequency. So I had to really start to believe, anchor in the unrealistic universe and divine timing and unrealistic beliefs, and heal anything from my subconscious, my past, that was not in alignment with the way I desire to live and lead my life and my life's work. And this has been an ongoing journey, and it still is. And divine timing, the gifts of all of this have and are and still coming to fruition. And it's been, a very long journey, many years. Okay, so to wrap all of this up, again, if this is feeling like it's not fully integrating, it's not fully going in, it's not fully embodiment, think of the word embodiment, energy, mind, body. You want it on all layers and levels of your being. I invite you to deepen this. I invite you to deepen this work with the self-worth, worthiness series, with the unexpected money master code, with trust. So trust is huge. And again, it's this channeled program that's come through. There's different layers of trust in yourself, in your intuition, in your now, in your present, in your heart's desires. Because if most of your life you were conditioned to always look outside of yourself, always to do what you were told, follow society's timelines and template, the connection to your intuition is going to be very interfered with. And this is where we get confused, like, what way am I supposed to go? Like, am I supposed to do this? Or like, because you're so confused. The confusion is interference of past, of society, of parents. So clearing and cleaning that up. And also trust, another layer, is to the divine. Whether you believe universe, God, life, your higher self, you are a co-creator. Just like there's a co-pilot and a co-captain to make the flight smooth, the sailing, the ship smooth, you are a co-creator here. And if your human is just trying to do it, that's overdoing it, that's push, that's hustle, that's force, that's control, that's despair. There's no lean back, there's no trust, there's no surrender, there's no trust into that divine support, divine connection, divine intervention, divine guidance, which is available to all. And another layer of trust is trusting in your failures, trusting in your mistakes, your mishaps, because there's wisdoms, there's lessons, there's beautiful gifts to integrate from those times. And most of it's just clouded with guilt and shame and embarrassment and rejection. But you are meant to learn. And when I learned this from my mentor, Melanie Ann Langer, it has shifted so much for me. You're meant to learn through contrast and validation. You're meant to learn through contrast, falling down, making mistakes, mishaps, taking the wrong turn. Contrast, not just validation. It working the first time, it's sunshine and rainbows. I love sunshine and rainbows, but there's only sunshine and rainbows when there's storms and clouds and rain, and that's contrast. And healing the contrast and taking the lessons and the wisdoms is so powerful for you to actually trust in yourself, your intuition, the divine, and you bring all that together, and the condition it creates in your body, in your mind, in your mental health, the unlocking for manifesting, it is by far one of the top unlocking energies, frequencies, vibrations, ways to live and operate by to enjoy this divine human experience. So just like I was saying, the code for Sims that unlocked infinite abundance, there was like 8 keys I had to press for it to work. This trust program is a key. This self-worth program I talked about is a key. The unexpected money program is a key. When you hit all the keys at once, that's why I made 5 in the mental health and manifesting series. Hit them all at once, this code of receiving, of being in your divine human experience, actually enjoying life, enjoying the divine timing of your manifestations for manifesting, is what I just so deeply desire to gift, so to walk with you, to be a part of your journey would be such an honor. And if you feel complete with this code, I trust even if you took one powerful activating statement, shift in your mind and your heart, that trajectory shift, it really does change and shift the trajectory of your life. So I'm just honoring that, celebrating that. If you feel like you do want to go deeper with me in any of those programs, Trust is happening in July. You'd be in live energy with me, 4 calls, RTT, clinical hypnotherapy, or if you want to do self-worth, that's already happened. It's available to you now. You can do all of them. I have a bundle for you, and you can check all of that out on my website, MeganAleece.com, mental health and manifesting. And it just takes this word work deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into yourself, that deep remembrance, reintegration, reactivation of worthiness, of trust, and that connection to the unrealistic universe. All right, I'm going to thank you everyone for being a part of this. I'm going to stop the recording so anyone live with me has the opportunity to ask any questions. Till next we meet. Muwah.